Welcome back to the Breakroom, where it doesn't matter who you are or what reality you're from, we're here to provide you with a fourth wall break as a way to escape. Before we get started, smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications to make sure you never miss any new content. Let's begin with a quick recap. At the conclusion of episode 15, we learned that AZ is back. This is the droid that we originally meet in the episode where Fives is investigating the inhibitor chip back in the Clone Wars. We also find out Omega is the oldest member of the Bad Batch. In fact, she was there when they were genetically born. Crosshair is back in the team, or is he? More on that to come. Kamino, or at least the section of Kamino we're familiar with, is gone. And I mean gone. Questions we're left with include, is it still possible to have a clone rebellion on Kamino? My thoughts on this are as follows. They ended this episode in a cliffhanger, where we don't know if our heroes escaped Kamino or not. But we do know, if they're alive, they're still on Kamino. And we also know that this is not the only city in Kamino. Whether or not that will be canon in the Star Wars animated universe or the Star Wars universe as a whole, we'll find out. But what I do believe is that if we travel to different sections of Kamino, which is a whole world, it's possible we could still have that clone rebellion. So I'm willing to bet that the rest of Kamino isn't going to be too happy with the Empire after they learn what went down at their clone facility. And this is a good segue into my next question that we're left with. Will we see Boba Fett or any major characters making a guest appearance on the show? I believe if we do have a clone rebellion, that Boba Fett will show up and he'll be fighting on the side of the Empire. Will we get that? I don't know. Will we get any other appearances from someone like Darth Vader? I don't think so. I don't think this is big enough potatoes for him to show up. I don't think he really has a cause for action yet. He's usually coming in if something's really going down. But then again, get that rebellion, could happen. Will we get Bo-Katan, like some have said might happen? I'm not really seeing a play to make that happen. Let me know in the comments if you think otherwise. Next question. Will Crosshair be a part of the team again? Is the chip in his head actually removed? Funny thing is, if you travel back to episode 3, at just about the 5-minute mark, you're going to see Crosshair finishing up what looks like some kind of a head scan, and then Tarkin having a conversation afterwards stating that we'll see if this works, essentially. I believe at that moment, we're actually seeing Tarkin check to see the vitals of Crosshair, and the conversation they're having has to do with whether or not Crosshair will remain an ally of the Empire. What do I think will happen to him overall? Well, the Bad Batch have him by their side. The Empire just basically blew him up. So everything he was mad at his brothers for, the Empire just did to him way worse. The only thought I have in my head, and I may even want to rewatch this a couple times, is he supposedly has a plan before all this goes down at the end of the episode. Was making his brothers think he's back on their side part of his plan? I don't know. It seems like it would be very elaborate, and they're already blowing the place up anyway. So, we'll see. Even more so tying in with this Crosshair and inhibitors chip discussion is a theory that a lot of people are talking about based on footage from the original trailers, in which we see Braca during the day. Personally, I believe that all we're looking at is some edited footage that didn't make the cut. However, this could be a sign that the team is going back to Braca to make sure that Crosshair doesn't have an inhibitor chip in his head still. Is that the case? We'll find out. Last big question. Will every member of the team survive this finale? Personally, I think it's about time for somebody to die. Hell, I even think one Bad Batch member a season should probably die. And the reasoning I have for that is once we get towards the end of the Empire, into the time of the original trilogy, we haven't seen the Bad Batch since the Clone Wars, or the show. What have they been doing? How are we going to explain that away? I think every member of the Bad Batch has to die at some point by the end of this series. With that being said, that's all I have for today, guys. Thanks for coming back to the Break Room. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe. This has been your Fourth Wall Break.